Okay, so I'm getting a little bit better with these speed videos. Today's video, I wanted to talk about the 4th trimester. I know a lot of you who already had babies, you know the deal. I'm just kind of sharing with those who don't know. So I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, but I spent about 40 minutes or so pushing. There definitely was tearing, partly because of my midwife was ripping it open so, you know, the baby can come out easier. I did have an epidural and it was numbing, but not completely, so I still felt it and still hurt. It was an awkward, weird feeling of mild pain, but then numbness when she was stitching everything back. Yeah, the healing was a journey after that. After you have your child, they will give you supplies and you are not allowed to wipe. So you have to use this squeeze bottle. I'm not sure where I put it. You would just fill it with like warm water or hot water, and after you use the bathroom, you just spray yourself clean because you can't like really rub on the stitches or anything. And it also was kind of helping soothe the pain. They gave like this spray pain, burn, and itch bottle, and also wipes with witch hazel in it to help the healing process. The hospital would provide you with these really thick pads and underwear to make it like a diaper. I didn't really like those because they slid around, but me being cheap, I'm gonna use everything that's given to me for free. And then I start using the diapers that I bought. They'll give you extra supplies for your baby, like the Vaseline and stuff when you're changing the diaper. Any other little supplies. I had a lot of those nose sucker things where you suck out the boogers, or I guess if they spit up or anything so they don't choke. And I'm trying to think of what else that the hospital gave. It was just a nice little goodie bag of stuff, and they gave me extra supplies for myself as well. So typically they say to wait 6 weeks for the stitching to completely heal, but my journey was rough. And I think about maybe like a week in, my stitch popped. And a tip I would definitely give is to really be careful of how you sit. That's pretty much how I popped mine. You know, when you sit down, you'll feel your cheeks and your thighs spread outward. You have to sit in a way to where your skin won't move, where nothing would stretch, because that's what pulled. And then like when I, you know, relaxed and all my weight went into the seat. Hey, let's not pull on the cord, man. So basically when I sat down and all my weight went into my seat, that's when I felt the popping, and that hurt a lot. I ended up calling the midwives and seeing if they can fix the stitching, since it was fairly new and nothing was healed yet, and they weren't going to. The best they said I could do was just don't separate it and hope for the best kind of thing, of like let it heal as it is. And so yeah, it didn't heal properly and I'm kind of stuck with how it is. Yeah, I would just say to be really careful because your insides are healing, and like, you know, you push out the placenta, there will be bleeding. I thought bleeding would be like maybe 2 weeks tops, but it took about a month. It caused concern a couple of times. They say if you experience any blood clotting, like the size of an egg, anything really, really big, to go in immediately, and I did experience that. My bleeding was kind of weird, like it would be really light and then like super big blood clots, and then bleeding normal and then not, and then it was a little bit confusing and chaotic. So I ended up going to the ER fairly early on, and they just said it was just my placenta healing kind of thing. And yeah, there isn't really much anyone can do. You just have to rest, be good to your body, and just let it heal and hope that nothing is wrong. And if there is something seriously wrong, just don't be afraid to ask questions or go in and get checked out. As far as your stomach, going back to the way it was pre-pregnancy, it took again a month for my stomach to go back to its sort of close as you can get to normal size. Your uterus doesn't go back to small instantly. You have to give it time to go down. So you will still look pregnant after you have your baby, and it'll just be what it is. So if you grew attached to your maternity clothes, you can still wear it after. I mean, depending on how much weight you lose and where you lose it, you could still wear it well after. Thank you. This little one is pulling everything off of the table. But what I experienced, and I still have it, that really thick pregnancy line down the center of your stomach. For me, like, I always had that line. It was always visible, but it was light and it was also thin. But when I was pregnant, it doubled in thickness and got super dark. Also with my hyperpigmentation, the more my stomach stretched, the more dark marks it left. That is still there. It's not as dark, but it's still super dark. So I'm not really sure exactly how many more months it'll take to go back to where it was before. We're rolling close into month 6. That's something that I didn't know that you'll still have to deal with. One of the big things that I experienced, that I learned firsthand, especially when I experienced my first miscarriage, and I kind of braced myself this time, was after you have your baby, when you have to go to the bathroom, that is the most painful thing I've ever experienced. The struggle would be pooping mostly, and when you're pushing, your inside is, you know, squeezing or, you know, contracting, but the pain comes when you're relaxing. So when your muscles are releasing, that's when like that excruciating pain hits you. So it becomes a little complicated, especially if you're constipated, because then it's just going to keep pushing and like keep relaxing, and then the pain is crazy. So they'll give you stool softeners and you'll take that to make it a little bit easier. But that is something you definitely have to mentally prepare yourself for after. So you have to be mindful of the stitching, you have to be mindful of the bleeding and all of that stuff. You have to be mindful that you will still experience regular contractions after, and also it's gonna be really hard really hard for like a week or so. I would give it like 2 weeks to poop and use the bathroom, and you will have to poop. It's kind of like having period poop. So yeah, they don't prepare you for that. After my 6 weeks have passed, I went back into the midwives. They checked me, make sure everything's good. They check your breasts and everything, because I was having a little bit of issues with breastfeeding and pain from that, but I will leave that for a separate video. Yeah, everything was okay, and after that, you know, you're free to go back to your hanky-panky ways. Also, just be mindful that after you do have your kid, and you do give birth, things do shift around inside, so it might be a little more complicated for intimacy. It won't be as comfortable the first, you know, couple of times, but I guess your body gets used to it. The only other thing I experienced, and I guess I still have, is my abs separated. I forgot what it's called. I guess when my stomach expanded, my abs separated a little bit. So you do have to do certain kind of exercises to get your muscles back in order and have it pull itself together. Did I do them yet? No. It's not really life or death. I was recommended to go to physical therapy, but with COVID and all that stuff, I'm like, I'm not going out. And it was a bit more complicated to leave her with my husband for feeding wise, because we're only doing breastfeeding, so he doesn't have breast milk to give the baby, and I was having complications with producing enough milk to be able to give him enough to leave and do what I need to do. So that was the thing. But there's so many different things on YouTube, TikTok, all social media you can find, you know, to manage it at home. I just now need the time to exercise and get it back together. And I'm realizing I'm hella out of shape. I have not exercised or anything in over a year of like really, like other than like holding her and, you know, using her as a weight because she weighs like 20 pounds. She does keep me on my toes in that regard, so my arms are good, but can you stop? Or you just find it fun? You and the cat just love knocking things off. Yeah, just stamina of running. I need to work on that. Yeah, that's pretty much it of the general things that you might experience. I have not experienced postpartum depression. I mean, I've experienced regular depression, so I kind of can tell the difference. Stress-wise, I have been stressed just because I'm tired, but you know, that's life and it's expected. So I already knew how to cope with my emotions and feelings, so it was easy for me to manage. So I'm good in that regards, but some people might have a really hard time with it. I don't really have any other tips other than just be really careful when you sit, when you have your stitches, brace yourself for pooping. So make sure you definitely take your stool softeners and continue to take your prenatal vitamins if that's what you're doing. I recently stopped in the last month or so because I ran out and they just never had the brand that I was using in stores. So I now am experiencing hair loss, but I would say to continue to take your vitamins and all of that stuff for as long as you possibly can, just because it's, you know, good for your body. Yeah, definitely buy your own diapers. It kind of dawned on me, when you're on your period, you know, you have your regular cute looking underwear and then you have your period panties. You won't even need to you know, sacrifice a couple of underwears for your period. Just buy the diapers. They're always discreet, they're really thin, they're really comfortable. That's the only brand that I tried, but I know there's a lot of other brands out there. But that's all the underwear you need. And then you can you know, toss it and change it, and it's pretty cheap, and you can keep your pretty underwear and never have to worry about ruining another pair. Because I've ruined many in my day. But yeah, I guess that would be an easy hack. Anyways, I'm gonna put this little one to bed and go on about my day. So have a wonderful night, morning, evening, or afternoon, whenever you're watching, and I will see you lovelies next time. Bye.